Hi there. Um, the purpose of this video is to show you as a Mac user in the BYU Idaho Computer Science Department how to get your machine set up to interface with a Linux lab where you will be doing most of your programming. If you're on site in the Austin building, you can easily just go use the Linux lab computers themselves. But if you're at your apartment or somewhere else on campus, you're going to have to use a Linux lab remotely to do most of your work. And to do that, you're going to use a program called Terminal. Okay? And Terminal is just as it says, it's a terminal emulation software, and it's as I said before, your command line interface through to the Linux lab. Now, for someone who may be using this for the first time, it can be a bit of a daunting program. So I've decided to put this video together to help you to coach you through a couple of things and hopefully maybe make a few things a little easier. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is launch Terminal, which I'm just going to go to Spotlight here and type in Terminal and select that. And there we go. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is get it ready to connect to the Linux lab remotely. Now you can actually type in the command string to do it, but I'm going to show you a way that will make things a little bit easier for you. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go to this shell menu, and I'm going to say New Remote Connection. Okay, and this will bring up this little window. Okay, now what the type of connection we want to do is called Secure Shell Connection. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. All right, and I'm going to click this plus button here because we want to save a new connection. When I click this plus button, a little sheet will pop down, and here we're going to have to put in the information about the computer or server that we want to connect to. Now, namely, I'm going to be putting in its IP address, so please follow along with me as I do this. Okay, so that's the IP address, but we need a bit more than information than just the IP address to be able to connect to the Linux lab. We also need a network port number, so I'm going to put that in right now with this -P 215. Now this just means that it's network port 215. If you know anything about TCP/IP, it's the TCP port 215. But if you don't, just put a space and put a -P and put a 215. Okay, and that's all you need to do from here. Okay, so go ahead and click OK. And there it is. It's going to be right there, ready to go. Okay, so if I were to close this window, for instance, right? And one other thing, by the way, is if you want to keep your terminal in the dock, you can just do it like this. So yeah, so I close that window and quit Terminal. And so if I were to launch Terminal again, so I have this window, and so when I say New Remote Connection, Secure Shell, here it is right there. All the information that you need to connect to the Linux lab. The only other thing you need to do now before you connect is actually type in your username. And this username is going to be the account that you use to connect to the Linux lab. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my username to demonstrate this. Okay, notice how it filled in the command string there. And now all I have to do is hit connect. It brings up another window, and it just says, now the first time you connect, it's going to say, hey, I don't know who you are, or we don't know who this machine is. Do you want to continue connecting? It's the school's network, so it's pretty safe. So I'm just going to say yes. Okay, and then it's going to ask you for your password. We'll put that in. Oh. Sorry, I can't type. Okay, and there you go. And there it sees that you've just logged in. And then you can do a couple of things. You can do what's called ls, which lists all the files you have in your computer. And you can start navigating around your directory structure. So for instance, if I were to go to cd, which is change directory, CS124, and then I do an ls again. These are all the files and folders I have in my location. And I'm just going to go cd into chapter 1, and I'm going to do another ls, and then I'm going to I want to do this. I'm just going to do compile a program, right? There, I've compiled the program. I'm going to do an a.out, or here actually, now that I compile it. You see there's this, this time I did a long list, which shows more information. If you see at the top right over here, I have an a.out for what I've compiled. So I'm just going to do an a.out. And there we go, hello world. That's a running program. So now that I'm in here, what if I want to go back out? I just do a cd ... and then you see this chapter 1 went away, you see the chapter 1 went away, and I'm in a now CS124. Now if you also want to see where you are in the file system and you the full path of where you are, you can do a PWD, which stands for present working directory. And this says I'm at home in my folder in CS124. All right. And then I'm going to cd ... to go up one level, and look, see? Okay, and so I'm just going to go back into CS124. Okay, and then I'm going to go into, say, chapter 2. Okay. And then to start up a program that you can use to edit your code is called Emacs. Emacs is a text editor that can run inside the terminal. And so I'm just going to actually just start it up using the Emacs command. And then I'm going to specify the file I would like to edit. So let's see. Okay, and so I can just specify a file, and when I hit return, here I am in Emacs. Now this tutorial isn't really intended to teach you how to use Emacs, but this should be fairly, give you a feel. This is what Emacs is like, this is what it looks like, and if you have any questions, you can ask any Linux Lab assistants to help you out. I actually have some videos for an alternative text editor if the learning curve is a bit too much, and this text editor will actually have a much more gentle learning curve, but this to give you a little introduction about how to log on to the Linux Lab, navigate some directories, compile a program, run it, and start up Emacs to do some code writing. So I'm just going to get out of Emacs by doing a Control-X, Control-C, and here I am back at my prompt. Now if I want to go back to my home folder, to the root of my home, I can just go cd for change directory and use the tilde character, which is located right to the left of the 1 key. And then I'm back to my home directory. As you can see by the pwd command, I'm in home/arm10003. I am back home. And when you're done being logged in to the Linux Lab, you can just type in the exit command, and then your connection is done. You can go ahead and close your window, and there you are. Hopefully this gave you a little quick tutorial about how to connect to the Linux Lab, how to save that connection so you don't have to type in this big long command string, so you can just simply bring up this window via this command right over here, new remote connection. Just type in your username there and hit connect, and then it'll open a terminal window with your connection to the Linux Lab already started. Okay? All right, hope this tutorial is helpful, and hope to see you around the Linux Lab sometime. Okay? Thanks very much, and have a great day.